How's it going, guys? It's been a while. Not much has happened, but I think I should be able to start streaming again. I have, been putting out YouTube content, and that's going well. But I think the videos would be better if they're like from the stream instead of just me recording them. So, being able to stream would help the YouTube as well. In the world of Shadowverse, we're getting a new mini-expansion, or I guess we're getting mini-expansion relatively soon. I think it's in like 2 days or so. So that's really fun. We could really look forward to that. And I guess we could do a full card review maybe like tomorrow.
1 hour later.
So here we are doing the World Uprooted Mini-Expansion card review. Not every single card is out as of this recording, but we're only missing like 2, so it's probably okay. Okay, first we got Amelia, this Silverflash. Amelia coming back from Rage Bahamut, an old Shadowverse card. It's a 5 play.44 Swordcraft commander. It says fanfare. Randomly put 2 different officers, followers from your deck into your hand. In hand 7, gain the ability to evo for 0 points and fall in effect. And next time this takes damage, reduce that to 0. Evo until the end of the turn. Subtract 3 from the cost of an officer, follower in your hand. Okay, so a lot of different effects in this card, and I guess we'll go over it one by one, right? So at its most basic, you play this as a 5 play.44 that's drawing you 2 cards, but the cards it's drawing you are guaranteed to be officers, right? So depending on how you've built your deck, you can almost guarantee what this draws, and there's a lot of power to that. 5 play.44 draw 2 cards is good, right? That's reasonable. On turn 5, you always have an evo, so you evo her, gets full evo stats, because it'd be a joke if she didn't, and you get an officer, subtract 3 from its cost, and you always draw an officer for fanfare, so there's always a target, right? So let's say you draw, I don't know, a vanilla 2 play.2 officer. Officers are better than that, they have an effect or something, right? So you get to play Amelia, you drew 2 cards, you get a 6/6 rush, you get to play an officer, and then you still have like an R1 in your hand, and that's pretty good. And if that wasn't good enough on in hand 7, which is only 2 more play points, it's really not too much to be honest. So for 2 more play points, you get to give her for free, which is nice. And then on top of that, she gets a damage shield, which is gonna more than likely leave you with a 6/6 after you've cleared something, which is pretty nice, right? Really, everything about this card is good. Like no part about this is bad, and everything is doing is good, right? 5 play.44 draw is good, evo effect is good, enhance effect is good. The weakest part about this card is that it's a Swordcraft commander, right? And that's really not that bad. Just because Sword is not great right now, it's something that Sword will always be bad, and Amelia might be a step in the right direction for Sword to be more playable. I don't really know exactly where you're gonna play her right now, but it's a good card, right? And surely we could figure somewhere where she could be playable. I do think she's good. There's like some synergy you could use with her with like Geld or I don't know, other random stuff. It just seems solid. Okay, next card is the Ruinweb Spider, Bloodcraft, Natura Legendary. It's a 10 play.5/10. I don't like spiders, and this is a big spider. It says during your turn, when his follower comes into play, all enemy followers can't attack till the end of the opponent's turn, so he's got like that freeze effect on them. Once on each of the opponent's turn, when the opponent plays a follower, it also gets frozen. So 5/10, freeze everything. First follower your opponent plays gets frozen as well. And if that's all this card was, I'd say it's not good. I say 10 play when follower in Shadowverse, like if it's not like play this and win the game, it's just not good, right? So like 10 play for a 5/10 to freeze, like that's not good, right? But what make this card good is the Crystallize, right? So for Crystallize 2, you get a countdown 10 amulet that says during your turn, when another allied amulet comes to play, subtract 1 from this countdown, and then last word you summon the spider, right? So you're not paying 10 plays for this, you're paying 2 for it, and then paying some time, right? If you're playing the Natura deck and you're playing Great Trees, you have this, reduced, and I think that's kind of cool because the way the current Natura blood decks play, they just really want to get one Great Tree out there, and then they have no benefit for playing any more Great Trees, right? But the spider might be the first card for blood that makes you want to play other Great Trees. Now, I haven't done the math, and I don't know how a deck's gonna look like, but let's say you crystallize on turn 2, and then, I don't know, at some point in the mid-game, you get a big-ass spider that, has the freeze, and it's a 5/10. That seems pretty good, I guess, right? It's definitely a card that, like, you're not playing this in, like, Avarice Blood, you're not playing this in Pain Blood, you're not playing this in Mach Blood, you're not playing this in a lot of things, right? But maybe in Natura Blood, 5/10. You pay early game tempo, right? You sort of skip your turn 2, but you get a 5/10. Pretty poggers, right? Okay, our next card is Windfall Fae. Say Forestcraft Gold, 5 play.22. This fanfare recover 4 play points. That's pretty good. Whenever you play a card, if it's the 5th card or later, draw a card. And I think that's pretty good. So it's obviously meant to be support for like, the Control Forest or Roche or whatever you want to call it. The forest deck does play a lot of cards in the same turn, right? Now you need to play this for 5. It doesn't cost 1, right? But if you play it for 5, you get 4 play points back. It essentially only costed you 1 play point. And then while this is up, the 5th card or later, you get to cycle them, which is pretty good, right? So question is, how early can you proc this? And how much can you get out of it? You're essentially also getting a 1 playable 2/2, which is pretty good, right? Not that I guess that deck would care about that. It would care more about being able to use the resources to, you know, refill the hand basically, right? So let's say it's, I don't know, like turn 7 or 8, you like start your turn with this, play a couple cards, and then you get to a point where like everything you play, like, oh, you play a May, you draw a card, and like that's really good, right? But I mean, I guess it's a good card, right? Just solid. Is this crazy? Like, am I underrating this? Is this like a bonkers card? Its ceiling is really high, right? Letting you draw a card whenever you play a card is really, really good. But it's not super free either. Like, you're not doing this for free. The decks that would play this were already good decks. It's not like they weren't playable before. Like, do you just put this in the road stack? Card draw is good, right? It's never bad. I guess it's just a fine, good card, right? I don't know if it's needed, but it's not bad. I would definitely agree with that. That seems right. Like, this card is not removable or anything, so it's just giving you card draw, right? Which is something that the deck wasn't necessarily lacking, we could say. It's just really good card draw at its highest potential. Seems interesting, nothing too crazy. It's no Magus support, that's for sure. Our next card is Formbender, a Runecraft gold, 3 playable 2/3, kind of a creepy dude. This fanfare, transform another follower or amulet into a clay golem. Clay golem's a 2/2. This card has been spell boosted 5 times, and select the card was ally card. Transform it into an Eldritch Chimera. Chat, what is an Eldritch Chimera? It's like yeah, it's a 5/5 ward indestructible. Okay, so a 3 playable 2/3, transform follower or amulet into clay golem is good. With the additional benefit of if you boosted this 5 times and you do an ally card, you get a 5/5. But I don't think you're playing it for that, because you don't want to transform your own shit. You want to transform your opponent's cards, right? Like their big spider or their annoying amulets. And you also get a body. You get a 2/3 body out of it, which is nice. The downside to this is that A, it's not a spell, and B, like, what are you really doing with it, if that makes sense? Like, this card doesn't advance rune recognition, and in Shadowverse it's much stronger to advance recognition that delay your opponents. And sure, there's some cases where like, oh, my opponent plays PDP and you transform it, like you win maybe, but like, it's a good removal card, right? They get a 2/2 still though. If your spell was ruined, you'd rather have like Fiery Embrace or something, right? Maybe even Wind Blast, to be honest. Like, would you rather play 3 play points to make a follower be a 2/2, or play 2 play points to just clear a follower and also spell boost your hand, right? I'm not saying this card is bad, but I don't know a rune deck that would currently be like, oh man, this shit is so good, exactly what we needed. And it's a cool hate card, but hate cards just aren't great in Shadowverse. If you play the game long enough, you know this. Why would you play this card as a staple in spell boost? I don't think you would. I don't think you would play this in spell boost, no. If you transform your 1/3 into a 5/5 ward and hide Kuon behind it, is it worth? My guess is no. That sounds like too much setup for not enough payoff either. Think of like the average case scenario where it's like, oh, you're playing a 3 play 2/3 that doesn't spell boost your hand, doesn't do anything. Or maybe it turns your opponent's 3/3 into a 2/2, or their 4/2 into a 2/2. Like, that's cute, but like, I don't know. I don't think this is like a bad card, but I don't think it's something that Rune needs. Now here is a Shadowverse card, the young Garuda, Wings of Paradise, Havencraft Legendary. Now this card is hype. 5 play 4/4, fanfare, put one of the highest cost amulets and followers, except Garuda, into play. That costs X play point or less. And he also activates their fanfares. X equals the number of amulet files destroyed this match. Now I love Garuda. This is a card that I instantly want to build a deck around. We talked about Amelia, how 5 play 4/4 draw cards is good. Well, Garuda's 5 play 4/4, draw 2 cards, put them into play, and activate their fanfares. And that's pretty damn good, right? Now, what you can get out of him is going to depend on how we build the deck, but like, you can see his ceiling is super high, right? Like, imagine 5 play 4/4, summon a 3 cost, and play a 3 play point amulet. That's already insane tempo, right? Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know, how we can best utilize him right now. And I think that's gonna be, part of the fun is trying to figure out where we can best use Garuda and how can we get the most out of him, right? But I can tell you that his effect is great, he's got a good body, and that makes it a great card. Maybe some decks can just splash this, maybe we can build around it. Either way, I'm all about it. I absolutely love this card. I think it's my favorite card in the expansion so far. Probably of the entire thing, to be honest. So, thumbs up for Cygames making a great Garuda, and I'm super hyped for it. I don't know if he's gonna be good this meta, but again, this card comes out and it's out for like a year, right? Like, obviously, its power level is good, right? Just have to learn how to use it properly. A card for the future, perhaps, right? Anyway, I love Garuda. This card is hype. I definitely want to build this deck. Okay, our next card is Jerva, the Wyrm Transcendent, Dragoncraft Legendary, 6 play 1/5/5, has Ward, gives you a nice leader effect on fanfare, says, at the end of the turn, if there's no allied cards in play except for Jerva, deal 5 damage to an enemy follower. If no enemy followers are in play, deal 5 damage to enemy leader instead. And he has a good EVO effect to deal 2 to all followers. Okay, so here's the thing about the Jerva, chat. His effect doesn't work if you have any cards in play, just so we're clear on this. So if you play Jerva and you have Great Tree in play, his effect is not working. You play Jerva and you have a 2/2 left over, his effect not working. So the question is, how do we use Jerva, right? And I think the idea is you play Jerva as a 5/5 ward, you evo to hopefully clear the board. Once you've cleared the board, you get 5 damage to the face or 5 damage to whatever is left up. Both cases are good, right? 5 face damage is good, clear the board is good. Now after that, if I want to be real with you, it's going to be very hard to proc his effect ever again. But I don't think that makes him a bad card necessarily. Imagine a world in which we've maybe ramped once or maybe not even, but we've played Jerva on 6, I've evoed, clear the board, dealt 5 face damage, and then my follow-up on turn 7 is to play a Boomer Devil that is also doing 5 face damage. That's a lot of face damage. Now after that, we have Storm, maybe, or something. But, you know, I'm just saying, 5 face damage is good, Ward is good, Evo DL2 is good. Leader effect, not that good. But I think if you proc it once, it might be good enough. Obviously not in Baldane or whatever else Dragon is doing, so gotta be something else. But maybe like a Burn/Storm Dragon, I could be about that life. That said, you know, Jerva is like an okay card, which is fine, because Dragon is really, really good right now anyway, right? Okay, our next card is Sarcophagus Wraith, Shadowcraft Natura follower. It's a 3-play.12. Is this like is it like a dog? Am I crazy if I see a dog in this art? I imagine like a cute Egyptian puppy. That's what I'm seeing. And it's almost a Fabled Treasure, which is the amulet that draws 2, heals 2, and gives you 2 shadows. And if you enhance it, you get a Profane Resurrection, which is the one that gives you a Lich, right? And then you evil this follower. So call me crazy, but this card is really, really good. Do you guys remember back in the day, this card called Singer? Okay, Singer was a 3-play.12, drew 2 cards, was playing like every deck, right? So this is a 3-play.12, but it doesn't just draw you 2 cards, it draws you 2 cards, heals you 2, and gives you 2 shadows. But if that wasn't good enough, you can enhance it for 3 more play points, get a 3/4 rush, and also get a Lich out of it. And that seems pretty damn good to me. Now, Shadow may be struggling at the moment, but this is a great card, and a card that could certainly help Shadow in the future. I'm okay with this. This is just a good Shadowverse card. You get a Lich and a Zombie. Even better. That's insane, right? That's absolutely insane. Pure-Hearted Singer. There you go. Pure-Hearted Singer. Our next card is Elf Queen of Abundant Life, Forestcraft legendary. So this is Elf Queen coming back, another blown waifu for Forest. And I don't say this lightly, but this card is bonkers, chat. It's a 3-play.23, has Ward, Fanfare draw card, that's already pretty good. It's got a new effect that says deal 1 damage to enemy follower, do this X times, X equals the number of cards in your hand. So there used to be this card called Will of Forest that did this effect. It's a 5-play-point spell. And then Cassiopeia came out and did this effect as a 6-play-point card. Now this card is doing this at 3-play.23 with Ward, but she also has Fanfare draw card, and that's pretty good. Good art, good effect, good fanfare, good class. It's a good ass card. It's not a 3-play.33, but I think she'll be good enough. This is one of those cards that will likely just be played in all Forest decks, because how could you ever play Forest without playing this girl, right? We got my boy Lasershell Tortoise. This card was revealed by Ignatius, so shout out to him. It's a Portalcraft, Machina, and Natura follower, 5-play.15. It's a pretty weird stat line. Has Fanfare, put a Machina or Natura follower from your hand into play, give it Rush and a Fallen effect. At the end of turn, goes back to your hand. So you get a 1/5. You evo this as a 3/7. 3/7 is a good stat line to clean up stuff. And then you get an extra follower to trade with that goes back to your hand. This is not particularly good, unless there's some bonkers cards that you can abuse with this, but I think the best you could do is someone like Guile as a Rush follower that gives you a 1/1 when it trades. Maybe that's like the best. There's some targets where this is okay with, but there's no one thing that is like bonkers with this. There's no issue fill, right? And a 1/5 is a weird ass body. Plus, where are we playing this? Like a full-on Machina deck? Maybe? You can combo this with the Furies, those are good, but that requires you to play the U1 card in 4 and be in Resonance, which is really hard to be. And then you get a random one, so you can't even guarantee which one you get. But maybe that is the best that you could do, like play U1, get Electachan, this summons Electachan, and that's pretty strong. More of a meme card perhaps, but a card I'm down to mess around with. What if you summon the Crab? Crab trades, and then summons the mini Crab at the end of the turn? That's broken. So more of a funny card, but that's Portalcraft. You can't ever escape who you really are, chat. No matter what Portal tries to do, at its core, at its heart, Portal is the clown class. Don't ever forget it. Lady of the Lands is the other Swordcraft card. It is an officer. It's a 3/3/2, has Rush, which is already good. This Fanfare, if you have 2 commanders in your hand, give this Bane and can't take, or next time it takes damage, it's 0. Fanfare 8, gain Storm, and recover 5 play points. This is just a great Shadowverse card, right? 3/2 Rush is okay. 3/2 Rush Bane, damage shield is great. Enhance 8, get Storm, get 5 play points is great. So everything about this is good, right? This is an officer, so you could draw this with Amelia and discount it. So let's say your turn 5 is play Amelia, draw 2, Evoid, get a 6/6 Rush, then play a 0 cost 3/2 Bane that doesn't take damage. Like, that's good, right? I would consider those to be power plays, but we'll have to see how the deck is going to actually work overall. But either way, Lady of the Land seems great. It's got synergy with like getting play points back. You get Storm. You want to play commanders, but like how hard could that be, right? I don't know. It just seems like a good card. It's just a good Shadowverse card, right? Is it good enough to save Sword? I don't know, but this card is good and Amelia is good. And I'd like to try new Sword decks that use them. We'll see. Okay, our next card is the Wingwoman, Havencraft, Natura, 2/2/2. Fanfare, select an allied amulet and put a copy of that amulet into your hand. If it's a great tree, change the cost to 0. Evo, subtract 1 from the cost of an amulet in your hand. That's interesting. I'm thinking like, can this be Garuda synergy? You don't really care to cycle great trees in Haven? Back in the day you did. In my mind, Natura Haven does not even exist, which is weird, right? It wasn't so long ago in the World Championship that Natura Haven was like top dog. And now it's like, it's not, I don't even think about it being a deck. It's weird how that happened so quickly. But okay, so 2/2/2, draw a card. Evo, subtract the cost from 1 from an amulet. That's acceptable. It's not a bad card. I wouldn't say that's a bad 2-drop. It's just not like a crazy good 2-drop either. So whatever, but it's amulet support. And I do want Haven to go back to an amulet playstyle. Not the worst, but not super exciting either, right? Okay, our next card is, how do I say this? Uhlein? That's definitely not how you say this. Runecraft, Natura follower, 2 play with 1/1. When you play an amulet for the first time, gain +1/+1. Second time, draw a card. 3 time, deal 3 to all enemies. So this card can be Natura and Earthright support, right? In the Natura deck, you play this, you play a Great Tree, it's a 2/2. Another one, you draw a card. Another one, you deal 3 and 3 phase damage, and that's good. But the way Natura Rune plays, it's not like they hold a bunch of trees in hand and they play them all. Even so, we're looking at a 5 play points, 2/2, draw a card, AoE the board for 3, which is not bad, but it needs a lot of setup, way too much setup. Oftentimes the great trees just go back to your hand. It's not like you have a bunch of them to destroy. You just have 1 or 2 that you're like playing and replaying over and over again. It might be too hard to get this effect off, to be honest. In Earthbound is sort of the same thing, but with sigils instead. And maybe it's more relevant there because when you get the 3rd sigil, you're dealing 3 phase damage and that's really strong. So a turn where you play this, get 3 sigils, deal 3 phase damage and AoE the board. And then next turn you play Magissa to proc all the sigils would be really strong, maybe. But the same thing still applies. Like, you're not playing this on turn 2 hoping that it lives and then playing 3 seals on turn 3. It's not happening. So this is like a turn 5 play, at least realistically, and while not a bad card, I don't know, maybe it feels like you have to hope for too much for it to go your way. I don't like it. I don't think it's great. Okay, here's the Shadowverse card. Immoral Beast is a 3 play point 3/3. Kind of pretty cool art. It's a Bloodcraft Natura card. It says Fanfare, if any allied amulets are in play, deal 2 damage to a new follower. So back in my day, 3 play point followers were 2/3s. And if you were lucky, they had an effect, like heal 1 to your leader, or something like that. So this dude is a 3 play point 3/3, Fanfare deal 2. But if that wasn't good enough, he has an Evo effect with full Evo stats, by the way. It says give your leader the following effect. During your turn, when a card is put from your deck into your hand, so when you draw, deal 1 damage to your enemy X times. X equals the number of cards. So you get a well-statted follower. That Fanfare deals damage. Evos into full Evo stats and gives you a lead effect, lets you do extra damage for the rest of the game, and that's pretty good. So like, you play this, it makes your cradle way better. All your card draw shenanigans are just a lot better, right? Like, you would never say no to extra damage. Extra damage can't ever hurt you, right? It's just a free effect. It doesn't cost you anything to have this, and it already has a good effect in Fanfare, while also being an acceptable 3 play 1/3/3 if you need it. So it's just really, really, really good, right? Craft or Control Natura Blood was already somewhat playable, as shown by Den in the SBO. And this guy just makes it better. Maybe you sneak in the spider in there, and I don't know. I guess I'm excited to see what Control Blood can do in the future, and this card seems really, really good for that. Would you put this in instant burn blood? Maybe, actually. Blade of Legend is a neutral gold, 6 play point, pretty expensive. Countdown 3, fanfare, banish an enemy amulet. At the end of your turn, banish your enemy follower. Okay, let's say your opponent has an amulet. So you play this for 6, you banish their amulet, and in return you banish a follower. And then you keep doing this for a couple turns. And while it's a pretty strong effect, it's so expensive, like so expensive. Did you guys watch the SBO? If you didn't, you should watch it. One thing you could see is that the top decks in the game, the way they work is that like, my opponent has a strong board. And if my deck is good, I can answer your board and leave board left behind, right? Like I can Machinas your board and then build a bunch of followers. I can Natura your board and have Natura left over, right? I can like artifact your board and have artifacts left over, right? Like things like that. This can answer a board, except not really because it's really only answering one follower a turn. And then it doesn't leave you anything behind and it costs 6 play points and I don't know, it's just too expensive. Like banish is better than destroy, but I don't know, it's so expensive. It's just not a great Shadowverse card is what I'm gonna say. Too low tempo, too expensive, just not a great card overall. But everything else is pretty hype. You know, as of this recording, we're still missing a couple things like the Portal Legendary, Shadow Legendary, Dragon Gold.
The very next evening.
Okay, so Shadow Legendary is Nightmare Baku. It's a 5-play 1/3/3, it has Rush, Fanfare Necromancy 4, summon a Nightmare Baku, repeat for remaining shadows or until your area is full. Last words, randomly activate one of the following, either restore 2 demons to your leader or you gain 2 shadows. So, wait, it summons itself? Isn't that crazy? I guess it depends how many shadows you have, right? Like you play this guy, it's a 3/3 rush, it summons a 3/3 rush, but then it could do it again. If you get 3 3/3 rushes that give you health or shadows, that's already pretty good. You're getting Last Word's followers to proc Thought. It's a Natura card and that's always going to be a benefit to it. Could work with Gremory. This seems like a great card, right? Is that not a great card? Like sure, you need shadows, but like there's a bunch of ways to get free shadows with the new 3-drop for starters, right? This seems good. I like it. Seems good. And just so we're clear, because I feel like I have to say this every single time, like just because this might not lead to Shadow being the best class in the game or being a tier 1 class, it doesn't make this a bad card, right? Like if these 2 Shadow cards or the Shadow buffs enable a tier 2 or dare I say a tier 3 Shadow deck, that's still a win, you know? That's still good for the game. Okay, now this, the best card of the set, the Terminator Mecha Bear. It's a Portalcraft, Machina, and Natura follower. So it's got dual trait, that's pretty good. It's a bear, that's really good. It's a Terminator, that's really good. It's a 6 play point 6/6, which is a well-statted thick follower. He's got Rush, which is good. When an allied Machina or Natura follower attacks, recover 1 play point, that's good. At the end of your turn, if you have 1 play point, deal 5 damage to your enemy follower, that's good. Then, if you have 3 play points, deal 3 to all enemies. So you play the bear, he rushes a 6/6, which is good. And if you do nothing else, then you also deal 5 damage to something else. So as an example, your opponent played Natura, they have Behemoth, Natura. So you play this, it hits the Behemoth, it kills it, and then end of turn he kills the Natura, right? But that's like at its base, right? That's like the basic thing we're doing, which is already pretty good, right? But then he gets better than that. Like, what if you already have a Machina follower or Natura followers in play? Then you play these and then you get a bunch of play points back. If you get 3 play points at the end of the turn, you're gonna deal 5 damage to something and then 3 to everything. It's not like this overtakes the 5 damage, right? So you would get like a 6/6 rush, 5 damage to something else, and then 3 to everything, including the phase. And there's no way that doesn't clear the board, right? It's also a 6/6 and a cool bear. I'm about that life. I'm really about that life. So we're going to Globe the Bear. Like he has a good base effect and a high ceiling, which is great, right? Like if your card has a good base effect and then nothing else, it might be not good enough. And if you have a good ceiling and not base effect, then sometimes they're like too ambitious, right? But it's just like good at all stages, right? Like you need a body, he's a body. He has Rush, so he doesn't need Evo. He has a good effect naturally. Potentially he gets really crazy, deals damage, can even do face damage, has the best traits. It's just really good. And just so we're clear, the art is absolutely amazing and we will be glowing him. That's one cool bear, that's what I'm saying. And then our last card. Okay, tell me this is not the name. Is that a real dinosaur, chat? Do we have any archaeologists in the chat? That cannot be a real name, right? It is a real? Okay, so let's be real, chat. This guy needs a nickname. He 100% needs a nickname. Call him Patchy. Okay, so Diamond Patchy is the Dragoncraft Natura 2-drop. So 2 2/2 says Fanfare. If you have this code this turn, can evo for 0 points. And on evo, he says deal 2 damage to enemy follower and the enemy leader. So keep in mind that the Fanfare is just like a bonus. Let's say you're playing, you know, discard synergy. This is good. But arguably, you could just play as a 2 2/2 that evos and deals 2 to the enemy follower and the face. Which, if you think about it, is like a worst EO. And yet, I don't know, it's good, right? I'm trying to go full disco. I think we might still need more cards, but I mean, this is nice, right? Free evo, free face damage. He does get full stats on like EO, that's true, but you know. Obviously he is a good card, right? We've seen it before, 2 2/2, good effects. Yeah, like a War Seal is still a good card, right? And his name is Patchy. So there's the mini expansion. Most excited for Garuda and the Machina Bear. Think that's the plan. Not giving Garuda the respect he's due, you changed man. Hey, I still respect Garuda. We will still be playing him. But, you know, the bear. Come on, he's a bear.